We really are trying in our planning and in our lesson creativity to use this approach, which is getting out of the way. And it's not like a do-it-yourself manual where we get out of the way entirely and let the kids do the work, but it's kind of remaining present, giving them information, and allowing them to grow individually as learners, and then, as this picture shows too, collaborate with each other and allow us to collaborate so that as learners we're all stronger. I want you to think about your classroom and how much time you're front and center and what the kids might be thinking. This is what has driven our desire to take on this approach. You know, I guess we're thinking sometimes the kids really enjoy hearing us, but not really. They're sometimes thinking, could I just get started? Would you shut up? It's probably like what you're thinking right now. Could I just get back to my classroom? And so these kind of thoughts are what drove us to this kind of paradigm shift. Some of the questions we're considering as we're planning and trying to implement lessons that help us to get out of the way are, how can we teach to a wide range of learning styles and kind of aptitudes? How will this work? If we are out of the way and we feel like we know most of the material the best, will that dumb down the results of the kids and the ultimate learning that they do? What economies of materials and effort can we achieve? Because especially with Brooke and me, we both teach a lot of the same materials. And so is there any economy of material and effort we can have so that kids don't look with that glazed look on their eyes? Hey, I did this last year and I don't really need to do this anymore. And then lastly, we both had Milt Taylor grants, and though all of our methods don't involve technology, we wanted to know how could we use technology to further this cause. So there are two essential methods. I'm just going to go through a little bit of general information that we used, and then I'm going to focus on one specifically that I used in my classroom, and she's going to do the same with her classroom. One is kids teaching kids. And I think, again, it's not that we're unique in this, we're just intentionally trying to make it work. So I'm going to give you some examples of how I do this in my classroom. I have what I call chain correcting, where if we're working on an exercise, instead of my just going over answers on the board and being front and center, I'll teach one child and that child will correct another child until we then have 2 and then 4 and then 8 correcting. The correcting happens a lot faster and they teach each other. And I've taught one, but then they learn to teach each other. So that's one method of getting out of the way. The others are ones that probably you use as well, which involve group work. So I have a March Madness competition where they're doing mechanics, usage, and grammar that we've done throughout the year, but they're with a partner. And they compete in a bracket of not 64, I guess, yeah, it is 64 teams. And they have a triple elimination tournament. So again, they're working with somebody. I try to match them by expertise. And they're working to try to teach each other. And then some other things where they're collaborating. And then, of course, there are technology tools that we use to get out of the way as well. And you perhaps have used some of these, but if you don't and you want to know more about them, I'd say Brooke and I could both answer questions about these. One is Noodle Tools, where I could do a research project. I could look at their note cards. I could see if they were plagiarizing from a distance. I did this from the state swimming meet in Canton. When we had off time, I could look at all the note cards for all my students, and I could teach them individually from a distance. Then reading logs, Brooke and I both set up a website, the same platform, this summer, and we both have reading logs or reading journals online. So we interact individually with the kids from a distance. They get our individual attention, it's not in the classroom, and that's been a nice tool. And then Google Docs, where they write their their papers and their poems and whatnot, and we interact individually. We're counseling them one-on-one, but we're not going around in the classroom ignoring other people while we're doing it. So the particular project on which I wanted to just focus was vocabulary. And this would be a good example of where I was able to individualize my teaching, but then get out of the way and allow them to teach each other. This is an example from a unit on Hoot, where we had 40 words, and I have 80 children, and each child did 2 words. So in the class, we had 4 words being assigned to the same person. We put it up on the website, And they each have, each person has its own website as well. But this is a collaborative part of the website where they could go and click on any one of these words, either on the grid or the side. And then if you just forward to the next one. And I uploaded the posters that they made. So they used Google or Toondoo or Comic Life or their own artistic method or Word, whatever they wanted. They just had to say the word, the sentence, its meaning, and some synonyms. And they had to have a visual that would remind us and them of the word and its meaning. And this was so much more effective than writing sentences and having me check all their sentences. We'd go over them in class, so it wasn't like I wasn't present and I wasn't validating their learning, but then I got out of the way and we posted these, and each child then, for every word, had 4 posters to view and use when studying and learning the words. 4 visual representations for the visual learners, and then they could talk about them, they shared them in class. We put them in a dictionary, a hard dictionary in our classroom. We put them up on lockers so 5th graders and other middle schoolers could see them. It was individual but collaborative. And all in all, it was not dumbing down anything. And it helped us, and Brooke can use it next year because she does the same website and uses some of the same tools.